Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Eric from Tech. The good people at Gamesir has sent me this controller that is sitting on my desk waiting to be unboxed just for you guys. This is actually one of the biggest controller from Gamesir that I've seen so far, and I've been reviewing Gamesir controllers for quite a number of years. So right here on my desk, I've got the Gamesir G8 Galileo Type-C mobile gaming controller. So what are we waiting for, guys? Let's get this quick unboxing started. So you've got the picture of the controller on the front. On the side, it tells you what's in the box. So you've got the controller and a couple of replacement joysticks. So it is cloud gaming compatible. And this is what you're going to expect once you open up the box. It does say that it's meant for Android, but with the recent release of the iPhone 15, which now has USB Type-C, this should actually support that phone. Though, unfortunately, I don't have an iPhone 15 on hand, so once I do, I'll probably do another video and show you how this controller works on that specific phone. So, nothing much on the right side, guys, and at the back, this is what the controller will look like. And not much else. So let's go ahead and open the controller. So I've got some handy pull tabs here.
A few moments later.
So they've got a little message here at the top. Measure what can be measured and make measurable what extends beyond. So let's put the phones aside. So these are the phones that I'll be testing it on. And let's see what's in the box. So as you can see, guys, G8 Galileo on the top, got controller here, very well protected. So this is the usual Gamesir box. It should contain your manuals and stickers. There you go, quality control checked. Your Gamesir sticker, got a couple of these lying around. Gamesir registration QR codes. So I know that you can actually get extended warranty on this by registering your device, and you've got the manual itself. So it does show you some button combinations out of the box, so there's no guesswork when using the actual controller. So just for comparison, guys, this is some of the Gamesir controllers that I've reviewed on the channel. This is the Gamesir X2. This is the Bluetooth model. So you can see the size difference here. And I actually kind of prefer the G8 Galileo now. It's looking like an actual controller now when compared to the previous X2 model. And I've also got the lightning port model of the Gamesir X2, which is very similar to that one, except that this one uses the lightning connector here. So this is specifically for an iPhone. And you can see the size difference here, guys. Okay, so let's get these protective foams out of the way and let's see how the controller feels on hand. So instead of the Gamesir logo here, it actually has Gamesir writing. I'm not sure if you can see the texture from here. It actually doesn't have the rubber grip that I'm used to on the older Gamesir controllers. Get additional L4 and R4 triggers here. So even with the size, the controller is not that heavy. It doesn't give off that cheap controller feel that some controllers have because it's super light. So I don't really like those kind of controllers, but this one feels good in the hand. For comparison, guys, what I'm actually referring to is the rubber part of the Gamesir X2 controllers. It actually affords a better grip when I'm using the controller, but it's not the case on the Gamesir G8. It's a better fit. It's not like this one. It's super small. Not sure if you can see how big the grip part on the G8 is compared to the X2. So actual game testing will tell me whether this is a better design. Hopefully it won't slip too much in your hands. I know some of you guys are asking how the size of this compares with a regular controller. So I've got an Xbox controller right here. It's actually a lot bigger than the Xbox controller. And from the side, guys, that grip on the G8 is actually a lot thicker than the Xbox controller. So I'm just a bit worried that I'm going to have some sort of fatigue when I try to play on this controller for extended periods of time. And as I mentioned, guys, there are additional tips here. So they come in different sizes, but I'll probably stick with the ones that come by default with this Gamesir controller. And one thing to note, guys, the joysticks here are hall-based. Actually one of the joystick types that is preferred by heavy gamers. And if you actually want to replace the joystick tips, it's actually magnetic. It's not that hard to pull off, guys. Here's a closer look at what's inside. It's actually very clean looking. I actually like the design of this. It's a bit transparent, so you can see what's inside somewhat. And replacing the joystick tip is as simple as just pulling the previous one out. So let's try this type. And let's also do this one, and just clipping back these magnetic covers. And if you're worried about damaging your USB-C charging port on your phone, the connector actually is spring-loaded. It does go up quite a bit, so there's no worry of actually damaging the phone once you install it. So let's start with one of the bigger phones that I've got, which is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. And if you're worried about the camera bump, guys, happy to say that once the controller is extended, you can see that there is a gap there. So your camera lenses are not going to get scratched whatsoever. And it does feel pretty good in the hand. But as you'd expect, guys, with a bigger phone, it's going to make the controller a lot wider, and that's going to affect how you're going to be playing for extended periods. And one cool thing here, guys, on this Gamesir G8 controller is that it has pass-through USB-C charging. And if you notice here, I've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, because Samsung has removed the headphone jack on their flagship phones and haven't had it in the past couple of years. But using this controller, you actually can get that functionality back. You don't have to rely on a pair of USB-C headsets. You can actually use the headphone jack that's right here. Alright guys, so I turn on the controller. You can see here it has a green light, and let's test quick YouTube. Yep. So I guess you can make out from the sound that it's coming from the headphones. And removing it quickly, it does work, guys. So that is an added advantage of getting this Gamesir G8 Galileo controller. So for game testing, let me actually remove this for now. So I've got my Red Magic 8 Pro here. Camera bump is not that big, so I'm not too worried about it. But let me just install it real quick. Cool here, guys, it has allowed Gamesir to access Gamesir G8 because I actually preloaded or pre-installed the Gamesir app, so it's going to detect it once it's installed. So having the Gamesir app is actually going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to give suggestions on what games you can potentially play on your Android phone that is compatible with the Gamesir controller, and it actually lets you update the firmware on the controller itself. It's the first time I'm seeing it because I haven't experienced this on the older Gamesir controllers. So let me update it real quick. So it's actually a mandatory update. You need to upgrade the firmware so that it will be compatible with this specific version of the Gamesir app. And if you guys are worried about installing the Gamesir app from an APK, which is the way it was done before, this specific Gamesir app is now available on the Google Play Store. Okay, firmware updated is saying there's no further updates required. It does require a couple of permissions, so I'm gonna go ahead and allow that. So it does have gamepad test. You can see everything is working as it should. So one good thing about the Gamesir app here is you can actually change to an Xbox layout, or if you're used to the Switch, choose the option. And for the sticks, the way it's set up now, it functions like a D-pad. So pressing right, it's gonna go right away. And if you actually maximize this, it becomes more sensitive, especially for racing games, guys. You can actually control how much you turn. So the way it's set up by default is either full or zero, full and zero. So basically what these settings do is you're configuring the dead zone on the joysticks as well as on the shoulder triggers. Detected the games that I have installed. I don't really play Mobile Legends on the controller, so I'm not going to be testing that. But of course I play Genshin Impact. So it's actually detected that Genshin Impact has launched, so I have to launch it in G-Touch mode, enable floating window. But it's actually going to need that in order to configure the on-screen controls. And you can see on the top left here, guys, so it does have the controls already set up for popular games. So Genshin Impact is one of them. You can actually just move them around in case there's going to be differences in the screen size, but in this case, it's perfectly playable. Okay, so honestly guys, I don't really play Genshin Impact with a controller, so there is a bit of a learning curve here. Gotta jump here.
Take flight.
Actually, having the controller not weigh so much is is probably a design decision. So if you have a heavy phone and the controller is heavy as well, this is going to actually not be very enjoyable, especially if you play for extended hours. So in this case, it feels just right. I actually like the feel of the controller itself. All the buttons are reachable. You're not going to be able to play with it like this. You're going to be losing some support. So I'm probably going to be making use of these additional trigger buttons at the back because it's in the perfect place. So you've got your middle finger here and your index finger on the shoulder buttons, and everything else feels just right. One complaint though here, guys, is the D-pad is a bit concave. So if you're going to be using this controller for emulators and if you're going to be playing fighting games, putting command moves might be a bit difficult, but you can use joystick instead if you're that type of gamer. But for fighting games, I tend to use the D-pad a lot. I don't have any emulators installed on my S23 Ultra right now. If you guys are interested in seeing a separate video on how the controller works on specific emulators as well as specific games, please use the comment section. Let me know what games you want me to test out on this Gamesir G8 Galileo controller, and I'll be happy to put out a new video with your specific game request. And if you guys are actually interested in getting this Gamesir G8 Galileo controller, it's going to be launched on November 20. And it's going to be retailing at $79.99. So not a bad price for what you're getting from this Gamesir controller. You've got the dual magnetic faceplate, so it's going to make replacing these joystick tips really easy. I like the overall feel of the controller itself. Feels good in the hand. You've got pass-through charging and you got a pass-through 3.5mm headphone jack. So with phones that don't have that headphone jack anymore, this is actually a godsend. You can actually start using your 3.5mm headphones again. Yeah, pretty happy with this controller, guys, and I'm actually going through the manual, and if you're going to be using it in iPhone mode, it's just a matter of pressing and holding these two buttons for around 1 or 2 seconds and it's going to go into iPhone mode. So once I do get my hands on an iPhone 15, I'll definitely be testing it out. So stay tuned to the channel and make sure that you're subscribed and turned on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know once that video is up. And if you guys are interested in getting this Gamesir G8 Galileo controller, I'm going to be putting out the purchase link as well as coupons that you can use to get discounts if you've got your mind set on getting this very impressive controller. So with that said, guys, I know it's been a while since my last video. I'm going to start making a lot more videos now. So with that said, a sub would be massively appreciated. Please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon notification and see you all on my next one.